Hello everyone! Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Todd and Julie Chrisley in trouble again? Savannah explains. In a new interview, Savannah Chrisley shares that her parents Todd and Julie are in trouble again. What kind of trouble are her parents facing this time? And where did this interview happen exactly? Keep reading for the details. Todd and Julie Chrisley in trouble again? Savannah explains. As those who have been following the news surrounding their arrest know, Savannah and Chase have been very vocal. Vocal about their parents' living conditions, to be more specific. Savannah and Chase acknowledge their parents are in jail and not at a spa. But they still have basic human rights. The reality TV siblings reveal their parents are dealing with unsafe food, dirty water, black mold, no air conditioning, heat stroke, and even snakes. During an interview with Fox News, Savannah Chrisley owns up to the fact that she's ruffled a lot of feathers by refusing to stay silent on the issues. She recognizes the conditions behind bars are not something people talk about, and she is ready to change that. Savannah said as she opened up about her parents' current living situation. They are in conditions where it gets to be 115 degrees inside because there is no air conditioning. There's black mold, asbestos, lead-based paint. They're consuming food that says not for human consumption. There's not clean drinking water. The reality TV star worries for her parents' health. She clarified during the interview this is especially true of her mother Julie, who is a cancer survivor. She continued to explain, "My mother is a cancer survivor. Obviously, conditions like this are not good for her health and the recurrence of cancer. So it's a challenge. But I made it my mission to be loud and to stand up even when it's hard." Her parents face backlash. Savannah Chrisley implies she's playing a dangerous game by speaking out about her parents' situation. And she suggests her parents are being punished and facing additional consequences behind bars because she's chosen to highlight the living conditions. While she feels for her parents, everyone is in agreement. This information needs to be brought to light so it can change for everyone, not just her parents. The air in Savannah Chrisley's Nashville living room was thick with anticipation. Cameras weren't rolling this time. No bright lights, no producers giving countdowns. But the tension felt just as real as any scene from Chrisley Knows Best. On the coffee table sat her phone, screen lit up with dozens of notifications, all screaming the same thing in their own way. Todd and Julie in trouble again. Savannah's fingers hovered above the device. She knew she had to say something. Ever since her parents' incarceration, every whisper from the tabloids, every cryptic social media post seemed to spiral into a storm. And now the headlines were bigger, bolder, and dripping with speculation. She took a deep breath, recalling the call she'd gotten the night before, the one that set all of this in motion. It had been late. Savannah was on her couch, binge-watching The Golden Bachelorette and halfway through a pint of salted caramel ice cream when the prison line lit up. Todd's voice was unmistakable, warm but carrying an undercurrent of agitation. "Savvy, I need you to brace yourself for some noise in the media this week. People love to stir the pot, especially when they don't have the facts." Julie had chimed in softly from the background, her calm tone belying the seriousness of the conversation. "They're saying things that aren't true, honey, but that's nothing new, right?" Savannah could practically hear Todd pacing, even through the static of the connection. "Apparently, there's chatter about us violating something. Let me be clear. We have followed every single rule in here. But someone's got their own narrative they want to spin." By morning, Savannah's feed was flooded. Some blogs claimed Todd had gotten into a heated argument with a prison official. Others implied Julie had somehow gained special privileges and was now under investigation. None of it came with real evidence.
"Hey guys,"
she began, her voice steady but her eyes sharp with determination. "I've seen the stories floating around, and I want to set the record straight before this gets any bigger." She paused, knowing her words would be picked apart. "First of all, my parents are not in trouble again. They're already in a place no family ever wants to be. But they've been following every rule, every guideline, and doing everything they can to keep their heads up. Savannah explained that prison life came with constant scrutiny. Every move was watched, every word documented. Something as small as asking for clarification about a rule could be exaggerated into causing trouble. "I think people forget that my parents are human," she said. "They've lost their freedom, they've been separated from their family, and they still have to smile through it for us. But some folks, they'd rather imagine scandal than reality." She leaned forward, as if letting the audience in on a secret. "You know what's actually been going on? Dad's been spending his free time mentoring younger inmates, and Mom's been organizing Bible study groups. They've both been finding ways to keep busy and stay positive. But no one wants to write about that, do they?" Her tone carried that signature Chrisley bite. Part sass, part sincerity. It wasn't lost on Savannah that her parents' fame made them magnets for criticism. Long before their prison sentences, people had accused the Chrisleys of living too lavishly, of being too perfect, of hiding too much. Todd's sharp tongue and Julie's polished exterior only made them more polarizing. But what Savannah wanted the world to understand was that their current reality wasn't about TV storylines anymore. It was about survival, resilience, and clinging to hope. She admitted there had been a recent misunderstanding. A guard had questioned the number of calls Todd made in a week, thinking he'd exceeded the allowed limit. After a review, it turned out the system had simply glitched, double counting a few calls. Julie's privileged scandal. That boiled down to her being assigned to the prison library, which apparently some people decided was code for special treatment. Savannah rolled her eyes when she recounted it. If having access to a cart of dusty books is special treatment, then sure, my mom's living the high life. Her voice softened as she addressed the deeper wound behind the rumors. "I know there are people out there who will never want to see my parents as anything but guilty. And that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. But I'm entitled to stand up for them. And that's exactly what I'll keep doing." Savannah's fight for her parents wasn't just about public perception. It was about preserving their dignity in a system designed to strip it away. Every time she spoke out, she risked more backlash, more trolling, and more headlines twisting her words. But she couldn't stomach the thought of staying silent while Todd and Julie's names were dragged through the mud. Her phone started buzzing again. A text from her brother Chase lit up the screen. "Saw your video. Proud of you. Ignore the noise." She smiled faintly. In the whirlwind of legal battles, media frenzy, and public judgment, the Chrisley kids had become each other's lifelines. Before ending her video, Savannah made one final point. "If you want to believe the worst, go ahead. But I'll be here telling the truth. My parents aren't perfect. None of us are. But trouble? No. They got enough on their plate without the world trying to add more. So maybe, just maybe, let's focus on the actual facts instead of the fantasy drama." Within minutes of posting, the comments began pouring in. Some thanked her for speaking out. Others accused her of damage control. But Savannah didn't linger to read them all. She shut off her phone, exhaled deeply, and looked out the window at the Nashville skyline. The fight to defend her family wasn't going away anytime soon, but neither was her resolve. Because at the end of the day, Todd and Julie Chrisley weren't just reality TV stars or tabloid fodder. They were her parents, and no headline could rewrite that truth.